Welcome back to Pops Culture. I'm your co-host Riley, and I'm here with my pops.
Hey,
We're glad to have you for the second episode. Thank you so much for all of the love, support, feedback, ideas, etc., from our pilot.
wait, ideas? Who gave you ideas?
Timmy, shout out to Uncle Timmy. He acted like I was giving him a pop quiz on the show. He was like, I really like this one part when blah, 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 blah. And it was like a specific detail that I even forgot. So, yeah, shout out to Uncle Timmy. You're the GOAT.
That's pretty funny. Thank you, Tim.
um, but yeah, so first episode I think went pretty well, despite the fact that the RSS feed did not want to be my friend. And if you don't know what that means, that just means technology no want to work, and that's fine, I
And
guess.
that was just to get it out to the world, and that's okay. I think we overcame that obstacle, and I think it's going to be smooth sailing for you. Overcame that obstacle, not we, and it's going to be smooth sailing from there. I don't think that that's going to be an issue moving forward at all.
Yeah, the only thing that I might change, we'll see by the time I'm editing this where my brain is at, but I don't think I can really release it at noon because you have to manually submit it to some of these streaming services, and that kind of makes it like staggered. Like one of our cousins was messaging us at 12:01 and was like, "It's not on Apple Podcasts." I
It
was like,
wasn't.
"Girl, I'm sorry, it's not."
It wasn't. They made us
Um,
wait. Apple made us wait more than anybody. But Spotify, when Spotify popped it, remember I texted you. I said Spotify's going to pop and Apple's going to follow suit right away because they want to make sure, especially, well, you posted only audio to them, but they want to make sure that it's not, it is what you say it is. We're not stealing anybody's material. There's no music in it. They have scrubbers in it. They want to make sure that there's not music in it that we're playing illegally and stuff like that. I understand that. I get it, but I also get your point that you're going to release it at a different time. I loved what you said about. There I am with. I love what you said about the uh, the fact that you built this from the ground up. I thought that was really cool. I got a kick out of that. I listened to it today actually. I had an appointment in Long Branch, and I was driving back up, and I listened to it just to kind of keep it fresh in my mind, and it was cool. It was cool, and little bits and pieces that I pulled out. That was one of them. It was neat. I'm enjoying
yeah,
it, and I think some of our friends are going to enjoy it, and hopefully some new friends will enjoy it, and that'll be the fun of it.
yeah, and for those that don't know this super fun fact, there are only two pieces of merch for Pops Culture in the world, and it belongs to Pops and I. We
True.
both just have a sweatshirt, and that I think is the best marketing that I could have possibly had, because person sitting behind me in class is like, "What's that website on her sweatshirt?" That's on her back. It just says
Really?
Pops Culture on the front, and then it says our website on the back. It says to tune in. Um, and yeah, I think that walking marketing has been the most successful so far, just because I was just telling my dad earlier, I walked into class and my professor goes, "Riley, what's the name of your podcast?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know how that got around. I don't know if she heard that from, I work like so much at school." So I don't know if she heard it from one of my many, many, many colleagues or something like that, but or if it was from my sweatshirt. But yeah, I always feel really cool whenever I'm wearing my sweatshirt, because then I'm just like, yeah, this is my brand. Ask me about it.
That's pretty awesome. The girl sitting behind you, what did she have to say? That's pretty neat because I'm curious about somebody your age, what they had to ask or how they approached it.
So I feel like a lot of people will expect to see like a link tree show up whenever they go to the website, which is basically just like a super simple website that's just like a bunch of links to Instagram, Facebook, all that. But it's an actual working website. So she was pretty surprised. She was just like, "I did not even know that that was you. I thought it was going to be somebody else." And yeah, it was really cool.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah. And because podcasts are so high on the rise right now, I think it's like extra engaging because people are just thinking like, what is she listening to?
Yeah, that's great. And then they find out that you're a co-host of it. It's amazing, and that you built it from the ground up, which is
From the
really
ground
cool.
up.
Yeah, that's neat.
I think what I've heard the most, though, is what we already knew, that you have a wonderful radio voice. um,
Thank
but
you to everybody who says that.
but it's also really cool because I get to be like, well, he also sings really well. My dad's a local rock star. Like when I say karaoke superstar, I mean that. Um, so
Nah, thank you, but I don't see it, and I've always said that. I'm, I guess, humble about it, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It is what it is.
he is being humble, but beyond that, I also, people that have watched it immediately are like, you guys are twins, which
Yeah,
I have heard forever.
forever, right? I hear that all the time too. It's my little mini me, and that's cool. You know, again, the nostalgia side of it. A friend of ours, um, a friend of mine who you know as well, he said that nostalgic thing when I said, like, you know, when years go by and I'm gone and you have this to look back on. The internet is forever, at least so far it is. So I dig that. It's pretty neat. And as we promised, this episode is not going to be nowhere near as long as that first one, where you got to know yours truly and his amazing daughter.
Yeah, so that is actually a wonderful segue. So since our debut, the Super Bowl happened, and I think the elephant in the room regarding the Super Bowl, besides the Eagles absolutely shredding apart the Chiefs, go Birds, was the halftime show. Every single class that I went to, not the day after the Super Bowl, because no one went to class the day after the Super Bowl. That Tuesday, though.
That's Philadelphia for you.
Yeah, so
That's hysterical.
that Tuesday, every single class I was in talked about the halftime show, what it could have meant, what it means, who is this guy, what's he even saying. I had family group chats blowing up saying this is the worst halftime show I've ever heard. Friends, like group chats with my friends saying this is the best halftime show I've ever seen. And yeah, so with that, I'd like to hear your opinion on it.
I'm not going to get too much into the political side of it. I don't want this to be a political podcast. Never wanted it to be a political podcast, and I'm going to stay away from that side of it. I do feel that there was a lot of stage for him. I mean, they managed it. They made it entertaining. And it grooved. It definitely grooved. You know, it's because you had mentioned Kendrick Lamar to me before in the past, plenty of times, and I was intrigued by it. I was like, okay, I want to see what this is about. But again, and it's not just him, because I felt this about other artists who performed at halftime. The moment was too big for him. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Usher was another one. I think that the moment was it Usher? Yeah, Usher did it one year, didn't he? A couple years ago?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, I think.
I think that the stage was it was just too big for him. And I don't care whether it's rock or R&B or hip hop. That pays. I don't care about that. It's just entertainment. Whether you watch it or you don't, go to the bathroom, go get yourself another sandwich, shove some Cheetos in your face, and move on with your life. Who gives a shit? I mean, really. The political message aside, whatever. Again, I'm not making it political at all. I could care less about that side of it. That was just. I do felt like it was cool. I loved him sitting on the car. I thought that was badass. And the whole PlayStation thing, and then I started reading a little bit more into the Drake Kendrick Lamar thing, and that was I thought that was pretty unique, and it was a nice little shot at Drake, and it was cool. I dug that.
And you really hit on some perfect points there. So I've heard so many celebrities or musicians say that their goal is Super Bowl halftime show, and I understand what you're saying about the stage being too big. And
Not
last
just the
episode,
stage. Not the
the
physical
moment.
stage, the moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
the stage is set type deal. Okay, I wanted to
yeah,
clarify that.
absolutely. And that's because you have to take into account how many people are watching the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
That is one of the most watched programs annually, and it will continue to be. And Kendrick Lamar's halftime show is the most streamed halftime show ever. Um, and that has been a headline that I've seen so many times on so many platforms. But
I think that's because some people didn't get it and didn't understand it, and then they wanted to go back and pick it apart. Which is, hey,
yeah,
if you didn't like it, you didn't like it.
and I recognize that.
Fair enough, though. In all fairness, if you did rewatch it to pick it apart and then base your opinion on that, I have more respect for you than just watching it in the moment and being like, "This is trash. This is garbage. It's the worst halftime show ever." Fair?
Yeah, absolutely fair. And I feel like so many people that watched it in the moment during his monologue moments and with Uncle Sam, who was such a badass in that performance. It was so sick and it gave me chills, and maybe I'm a dork to think that, but it was amazing. And last episode I said it loud and clear, Kendrick Lamar is one of my top 3 artists. I absolutely think that he creates art. I don't know if you know this, that he's a Pulitzer Prize winner because he's a poet.
Yeah.
And those little moments of speech held so much power. And I understand this is not a time for us to discuss politics whatsoever. It was certainly directed at a specific audience. And I think the people in that target audience, or like the target recipients of the message, it went in one ear and out the other. And with that, I think that it was so compelling to my generation, though, to hear someone close to our age, kind of, but such a powerful artist that came from nothing and turned into something great, go to the most streamed stage in the country, in the world probably. I've seen people streaming it in England, and create that much of an emotionally compelling and just poetic moment. And I know people say that they didn't understand what he was saying, and all I have to say in response to that is Kendrick Lamar is not a mumble rapper. Whoever was on mics during the Super Bowl needs to be fired, because SZA was ready to tear that stage up. And I love that woman, and she is so talented. And yeah.
I buy the record, listen to what he has to say then, right? Get the liner notes. That's, buy the physical media, really, because the physical media is probably going to have liner notes and have some lyrics in it. Now we're lazy because iTunes has a lyric thing, and it basically shows you, it's like a karaoke version of what you're listening to. Whether it works for explicit lyrics or not, and how well it works, I don't know. But it's piqued my interest, and I have a Kendrick Lamar album on my iTunes account on my phone that you had wanted me to listen to. And within the next week or so, I may give it a try, because I had to listen to an album this week that you pulled out of your little magic jar. How's that for a segue?
Let's circle back to that jar in a minute, only because I really want to I want to touch upon the non-emotional aspects of that halftime performance really quick. The Drake drama is hilarious. Listen, Kendrick Lamar won, 5 Grammys for that single, which was Not Like Us. Can you imagine if you were in Drake's shoes? You'd be punching the air. I would be... Okay, I am just so curious to see what Drake does with his career, if it's not already over, because it's just crazy. And I don't know if you've seen those videos of the people that were at the Super Bowl, during the halftime show actually recording their live audio. When Kendrick says A minor, the audio on the phone goes out. It's insane. There's so much symbolism within that halftime performance, and I could do 4 solo episodes myself to try to dissect it all, but I don't need to really add to all of that. However, if I were getting my doctorate, this is what my dissertation would be on. And I can end it at that. But all I want to say is Team Kendrick, always. And Drake, you had it coming. He's the one that
Okay.
started it.
That rap battles have been going on since I was younger than you, so they're not going anywhere anytime soon, and that's
And I'm
good.
glad they
It keeps,
won't.
no, I know that keeps the rap world alive. I love it. It keeps it adds
100%.
adds a lot of energy into it. But I don't want to make this entire thing about music, though. Like I mean, it's this is the second episode in, and we're already talking heavily about music again, and that I don't know. I just want to try and broaden that scope of what our mission statement, if you will, and that it's that and that it's pop's culture, if you will, and not just music culture. I mean, yeah, there's some heavy stuff. Music heavily influences us is the best way to put it. But I know you wanted to speak. We spoke briefly before we started recording that you wanted to speak a little bit about women's history, right? Women's History Month.
Yes, sir. So by the time that this is uploaded, it will be March, which marks Women's History Month. And there's obviously so many different topics that we could talk about, but within the lens of pop culture and broadening our horizon of discussion, I wanted to talk about something that is such a connection between my dad and I, which is video games.
Okay.
How old was I when I begged for an Xbox 360 for Christmas?
Oh, Jesus. 7?
That's what I thought. Yeah. And
7,
I
yeah, it was
freaked
2010.
out.
It was 2010.
And I lost my mind. I was so excited.
Could have been 2009 even, but I think it was 2010.
For some reason, 7 is sticking out. Of course, we had the Wii and
That turned me
everything.
into. Let me roll back. That turned me into a PlayStation guy. I mean, into an Xbox guy. I was a PlayStation guy before that. Had a conversation with my cousin and her, my cousin's husband, and her brother, his brother-in-law, and the three of us are out poolside talking, and they really started pushing the Xbox on me. And at that time, I knew you wanted a gaming system, and they were pushing the Xbox, and I could join up with them, and the 360 was it. That was the big Christmas thing, man. Santa Claus was good that year.
He was, because that that was the gateway. And when I was younger, like when I first got it, I was playing Connect games, those like silly Connectimals ones. They were so
Yeah.
fun.
It had that
I
camera thing on it. Remember that? The Kinect. It was pretty cool. That Kinect was so. They really tried to push that, and I can remember you could talk to it. I had it hooked up through my cable system. I could tell it to change channels. I could tell it to raise the volume up. It was really cool and unique, and it just flopped miserably, unfortunately. The camera never got right. You had to have the perfect setup in your room for it. I can remember going to Nicky and Aaron's and playing that. All the kids were down there. Remember, they had a nice room for it with the fireplace behind them, and everybody lined up in there and they were doing their things. That they had a better room for it. We didn't have a good room for it. Our living room was small.
Yeah, and I also think that it flopped because the Wii sensor was always so perfect, and like I got used to playing with that Wii remote in my hand, so it didn't really make a difference whenever I didn't have it, or if I did. And also that's when Amazon Echo started coming out and was up and coming, so why would you pay for an Xbox and get a Kinect when you can just get a little Echo Dot and connect it to your TV and be like, yo, put on Disney Channel. And I think the game that I first think of when I think of what made me a gamer is Minecraft. Minecraft is the formative game of my generation. And that's not even my humble opinion. That is my non-humble fact. I've
Is.
absolutely. And I've come back to it recently. There's a joke that like every couple of years you'll have your 2-week Minecraft phase. I am full force in that phase right now. And before I started up my new world, I was looking at, the first worlds that I created. And one of them, there was just cake all over the place. I didn't even build anything. I was just placing cake everywhere. And the one that really, like, it literally just made my heart start beating so fast is my best friend from elementary school and I would play Minecraft every single night after school. And we might not talk that much anymore, but seeing how our brains were connecting during that time and seeing our world together made me tear up so much, because I was like, look at what we were thinking and what we were creating together, because it was like we had our beds next to each other.
You can still
we had,
see those worlds?
Yeah.
How?
Because it's all through Xbox, so it's in the cloud.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Wow, I didn't know that. I totally didn't know that you could do that. That's amazing. And I know the friend,
incredible.
I know the exact friend you're talking about. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I could remember. I was like, well, what are you doing? What is this nonsense? But it sparked creativity in you guys, right? And you were building things, and you know, the next designers, game designers and developers, the next generation of them all probably played Minecraft. You know, you guys all coming up have played that game, and you know, what's the next level? What's the next phase? A game like Avowed, you know, a game like Avowed just came out, and I could remember I could probably look back at my texts to see exactly what you said, but it was, this game is gorgeous, you know, and to the extent that it turned your boyfriend into like an Xbox guy almost. He goes, this is a free game? I said, yeah, it's free, man. Game Pass has got to be the best value out, period. I mean, Xbox right now is firing on all cylinders. Obsidian was that's a company that they bought. It's probably the best thing that they ever did, because they've put out just hit after hit. They got Outer Worlds 2 is getting ready to come out. Outer Worlds 1 was amazing. I just always remember, spoiler alert, I had played every ending to that game of Outer Worlds, and I was just talking with my cousin about this. The fondest and funniest memory was me turning that ship around and flying it straight into the sun. That was one of the options, and it just wiped everybody out. But I got an achievement for it.
Yeah, you know, speaking of that guy, my dear old boyfriend, yeah, he did play Avowed. Well, he started Avowed, and it is gorgeous. It was recently his birthday, though, so we also got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is also gorgeous.
Yeah.
But we are still playing Minecraft together, because sometimes you just can't beat the basics and what you're comfortable with. And, you know, growing up with a game that is always updating, and growing up with those updates, I could tell you every single block in that game. And I'm never going to know another game like it.
They still funnel a lot of time into that game. It's really cool, though. I dig that. That's that's amazing. That's a nostalgic moment there.
Absolutely. And you know what? Shout out to our cousin Eli, because I remember when Minecraft was called Cave Game, and I first played it on your desktop. And
wow,
considering what it is right now, I can't even believe that I have the honor of saying I played Cave Game, and there were only like 3 blocks. So thank you, Swedish developers. But yeah, with that big scope of video games, you know, being a girl in the realm of video games is a very difficult experience, harder than people expect.
That's changed. Excuse me. That's changed, though. Like, I you know, years ago I would say, yeah, like, you know, it's a very macho world, gaming, you know, and I don't know. It's even to this day, you get some snotty kid, you know. I know, like, I'm getting picked off by some 16-year-old in his mom's basement with zits all over his face. I get it, but I don't play for that anymore. It's, you know, it's a completely different thing. It's completely different. I moved on from that. I'm not into the competitiveness of it anymore. A different competitiveness. There's a competitiveness to a game like Diablo, where you're doing time trials. A game, even the Division, you could finish some of those missions in time trials. And I can remember one night being late at night, last run of the night, my cousin and I hitting that 6-minute mark, and we were like, whoa, that just felt right. And when it shows you, you know, it takes a second or two to update in the server, and it shows you what your time was. You're like, whoa. being in the top 500 of the world in Diablo for me, that was like a huge mark, man. And I have video of me. I just showed that video actually of my character in the Diablo 3 with these blades, arrows, not blades, they were arrows, and doing this spin move and hitting for like a 489 million crit hit or something like that. It was some ridiculous number when the Rift Guardian came out. It was just like wild. I was like, whoa, man, these videos are old. I put a lot of time into that game.
I also think that we just play very different games because you play with people that you know usually, with the exception of those that you've jumped into random parties and then even became acquaintances with, which that connectivity in video games is amazing. But in terms of being a girl that plays Call of Duty, I have been torn to shreds in those lobbies. And not even that, because I would make like a minor mistake, and I feel like whenever I'm the only girl in a lobby, I'm just under that lens constantly. Like, oh, it's the girl that messed up. Of course it was. What do you mean, of course it was? Yeah, open up a 1v1, see what happens. Like, my cat probably stepped on my controller. But, you know, I had my gaggle of gamer boys that I played with in middle school, and I would absolutely destroy some of them too. No problem. You've seen it happen, and you've heard those parties at times. But
that toughened you up?
Oh, absolutely. Because I know that I can hold my own. Because being in a Call of Duty lobby can also translate to real life, those communication skills. Even though there's some colorful language here and there, that's no biggie. But also in a game like Minecraft, where it's pretty calm and it's not like high intensity or anything, like I feel like sometimes there is like that internalized misogyny towards a girl that you're playing with, because if I'm the only girl in that lobby, then they'll be like, oh, are you sure you can build that? Like, are you sure you can go mining? And it is just so annoying and repetitive, because I just have to be like, yeah, I'm more than capable of doing that. And, you know, I might die a few times, but that's not because I'm a woman. That's because I was probably just focused on something else. And my brain can't really focus on playing Minecraft for 7 hours straight.
So you wanted to bring this up for Women's History Month just because you're a female in a predominantly male world of video gaming?
Yeah, and I feel like this is just where I have the most like first person point of view perspective of it, because, you know, I grew up in that time where it was changing from male dominant to, you know, more unisex, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, in a level playing field. And there's a lot of women in the industry. Sarah Bond, for one, in the Xbox industry. I mean, they're really developers, programmers. It's like, you know, it's really moving. It's shifting in the right direction for everybody, a unity.
Yeah, and I do have to say that when I was younger, there were about 3 female gaming YouTubers, and they completely changed my perspective on gaming as a woman, because they were the ones that would ignore the comments and just keep playing. And it wasn't just simple games like Stardew Valley or Minecraft. It was those tougher games like Fallout or, you know, anything. I watched a lot of Silent Hill gameplay when I was younger. My favorite YouTuber of all time, her name is iHasCupquake, and she is one of the best female gamers in the game, really. Just because
it kills me how people scream like that. I'm out there busting my ass every day, and people are selling farts in a jar on YouTube. Drives me insane.
Yeah, I remember you came home once and I was watching a Twitch streamer and you were like, I hate these guys. But their influence is so far beyond just the video game that they're playing, because...
But think of their target audience. Why are they being so influential? I mean, kids are influential. I don't know. That's a discussion for another show.
Absolutely another topic. But yeah, I was just interviewed about being a girl gamer in such a field and growing up in it and everything, even though now it is an even playing field, or not completely, but, you know. And
Who interviewed you for that?
It was just like a mutual friend between my boyfriend and I. So, yeah, it was just like a little text interview because he was writing a paper for school, I think.
Oh, it was for a paper for school. That's what I meant to ask. I mean, was it a periodical, a paper, or you know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just for a school paper, but it was still like questions that I never really thought about. Like, do you think it's like you're just talked to differently when you're the only girl? Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And it's not that people knowingly do that. It's just subconscious that you're like, oh, this girl might need a little extra help. When I don't, I
Right.
can assure you I don't, and I can prove
Right.
it. Um,
No, there's plenty of girls that I've played with, or women that I've played with. Um, you know, like game like the Division. I'm sure that there's women playing Fallout 76, which is the game I'm heavily into right now, and I'm sure there's plenty of women playing that. I don't know. You know, you really can't tell. I'm not in a lot of parties. Like, you know, I'm more into the private party stuff now, friends and family and stuff. Um, Whereas you started meeting like a game like the Division 2. I've met a few people playing that game. It's pretty wild. Like you said, it's pretty neat. So,
yeah, and just to conclude this topic of conversation, I am really proud of how I've been able to adapt to those kinds of situations where it goes beyond video games. You know, maybe
it's
this,
toxic.
yeah, yeah,
I
maybe
agree.
this horrible person behind a screen is a boss at a corporate company and he is talking to his female employee that way. If I'm ever that female employee, you're not going to be talking to me like that. So, and like I said, it all translates. And now I have those skills. And yeah, shout out to that group from middle school. You guys definitely toughened me up.
They're all good kids. They're all good kids. I know every single one of them. They have great parents. They're good kids. I know exactly the
Yes,
boys that you mean.
absolutely. So with that, to conclude our second episode, we are going to be talking about this album that I had you listen to, Heaven or Las Vegas by the Cocteau Twins.
Not a fan. No.
No,
No.
not having
It's
it.
you can tell it's from the 90s. You absolutely can tell that it has this I don't know, it's classic it's classified as rock too, which I guess it's rock. It sounds to me more like a synth pop. His voice, the voice is it a guy or a girl? Is it one of each?
It's a
I
girl,
couldn't
I
tell that.
think.
They sound French. One, sometimes it doesn't even sound like they're singing in English, and that is neither here nor there. But there's parts of it that reminded me of Smashing Pumpkins, who I do like. Um, I had some issues with a component in my house where I wasn't able to stream a lot, so I didn't get to listen to it as much as I would have liked to. There's maybe one song on it that I would listen to again, and it's I don't know, it just didn't do it for me at all.
Do you remember the song that you would listen to again?
It was towards the end of the album.
Hmm.
Wolf, something with a wolf in the title.
I think so. I don't remember exactly the one that you're talking about. Let
You
me.
want me to look it? I could look it up. Something wolf. I don't know what the hell it was. Wolf in the breast.
It's a good pick. I also think that it
1990. That record was released. Wow. That you could definitely tell. You know what that was? That was coming out of that 80s synth thing into the 90s. Yeah, that was a transitional album. Okay,
yeah.
but I just didn't. I don't know. In 1990, I certainly wasn't listening to that.
Yeah, and I think that I am very much in a point where I listen to a lot of 90s. I love Smashing Pumpkins, Mazzy Star, Fiona Apple. Sign me up. And I just thought, like, I said that this album was groovy, and my dad goes, "You don't know groovy."
That's not groovy. It's not. If anybody out there listened to this, listened or listens to this record, you let me know. Please email us to the show, and let us know if you feel that this was groovy, because this is not groovy.
If you fill it out on the contact form, it will only go to my email, and I won't tell him. I won't tell him a thing.
It's
It'll
moody.
be between us.
It's not groovy.
Heaven or Las Vegas, the title track is not moody. I think that song is just okay. My thing is that I will emotionally connect to a song immediately just by what I'm doing when I'm listening to it. So when I think, yeah, I'm driving on the river road and right on the Missouri or on the Mississippi River, and I'm listening to Heaven or Las Vegas, and we're just singing in gibberish with all the windows down. It's amazing because you don't even need to think about the words. It's just so fun, and it sounds fun.
That's because you can't friggin' understand what they're saying. So yeah, it is gibberish.
But we talked about it on the last episode. Like Frank Zappa.
Word.
Frank Zappa has lyrics
there's a big difference. You can at least understand what he's saying. He's not talking like he has snails in his mouth.
Snails in his mouth. Okay. Yeah, and Cherry Colored Funk. Those two are just great, and I just associate it.
Disagree. I have a record for you to listen to. I know this wasn't part of the deal, and again, we got to break away from this music thing. However, somebody turned me on to this. A very good friend of mine. You know her. She's a very, very good friend of mine. The band is the Red Clay Strays. I'll text it to you.
All right.
The album is Made by These Moments. I've been listening to this at least once a day. I love it that much. It's a cross between Chris Stapleton and the Allman Brothers, and it's just unreal. Love it a lot. I think they only have 2 records out, but that Made by These Moments, I think, is their most recent. Man, is that good? Oh, it's good. I call it. Remember the Yellowstone factor? That's what I call the new wave of. I wouldn't call it country. It's a hybrid, and the show Yellowstone is kind of responsible for that.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it looks like we're trading albums because I still got my jar.
You going to the jar again?
I don't have to.
So that means the next episode we're talking about music again.
Just as the conclusion.
Conclusion of what?
Of the episode, because we're keeping it brief.
All right.
If I could open it.
Why do you have it sealed so tight? Maybe I did
don't
that,
know.
so you couldn't open it again. Look at the
you did that a stayed away.
Yeah, the demons came flying out of there. All right, let's see. I got to go open up my iTunes so I can do a search for whatever nonsense you're giving me now.
Charm by Claro. Oh my goodness. This is the best day of my life.
Charm?
Yes. This is the best day ever. This is, okay, I know I said last time is best case scenario. This is the one where I said there's a song that reminds me of the Dark Crystal, and I want to see if you can identify what song I'm talking about. And this is the concert that changed my life. I love it.
The Dark Crystal. How the hell did it remind you of the Dark Crystal? I didn't get
the
that
instrumental
reference when you said it. Yeah, but you said something after it.
Because when I think
of... Dark Crystal is a dark movie, a moody movie.
Yeah, but when I think of Penny playing his little wooden flute near the water...
Okay. All right.
I'm not talking about that alligator monster turning to dust. I'm talking about the whimsy of Jim Henson.
That was a Skeksis for all you pop culture fans out there. Come on, Dark Crystal. We're going to have a whole show on the Muppets and Jim Henson. You bet your ass we're going to. Because that dude was just... That dude built my childhood, man. Down at Fraggle Rock, all of it. I'm in
Waka waka.
Waka waka. That's
Read
me,
up
Fozzie
on it.
Bear. You know.
Oh,
I'm
you
Fozzie
already
Bear.
know. If y'all know those portable DVD players, I had every single season of the Muppet Show, and I could watch it for hours.
Yeah, that was good times, man.
Yeah, we're a big Muppets family. We're a big Jim Henson family.
That's
for sure.
Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah.
So okay, I got homework to do.
And I do too.
Hopefully this one's a little bit better. You don't have to review that album. You can text me privately. Do you need me to text you that record?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. You don't have to review it for the show or anything like that. It's just, I'll text it to you privately just so you can listen to it because I think it's really cool. And it falls into line with like that some of that singer-songwriter stuff I think that you'll dig. I really do.
Yeah.
There's I'm going to see if you can pick out my favorite song on the album, because I have an absolute favorite barn burner on that record that I love.
Yeah, and I'm excited to hear your feedback for Charm. That is one of my favorite albums of all time. And even though that album means so much to me, don't feel any pressure to absolutely tear it apart.
There is zero pressure. Is
I
it
do
gonna
think
put me
that
to
you'll
sleep?
dig it. I don't
Is it
think
gonna?
it'll put you to sleep. I'm trying to think of who I could compare it to.
No, no. Don't compare it to anybody, because then you're already giving me um, what's the word I'm looking for? You're the wordsmith. Come on. You're
Gotta
giving me
give
a
me more to work
foundation.
with then.
You're giving me a foundation. I don't want a foundation. I want to go into it blindly and listen to it, and I'm.
Build your
Who
own
knows?
foundation.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? I may have heard it in passing with you playing it or something like that. I mean, there's always that possibility. And I mean, oh, I know this. Now, let me just jump on something else here, because I don't necessarily hate or dislike even everything that you've approached me with. I went to go see Panic at the Disco with you, and I thought the dude is super talented. He turned into a jerk off, but he's super talented. And I had a blast at that show. I thought it was really cool. It was wildly entertaining. And so I didn't hate. I even liked your Taylor Swift, your Taylor Swift era phase, if you will. I thought that was cool. I mean, you were little, you were young. That was the Red Tour, but it
Yeah.
was cool. You know, she sings and writes her own music, man. You can't ask for anything more than that. And that's how
Yeah.
if again we're back on the goddamn music topic, but
For those that can't see our faces right now, I kind of wince at the thought of me being a Swiftie currently. That is my hot take. We were talking about Women's History Month, and I wrote an 8-page paper for class about why Taylor Swift is not a feminist. And I firmly stand on that.
it didn't. I can't let it go unnoticed though about the women's history thing, because I didn't really mention anybody. But I just watched last weekend. They had a 3-hour event, 2 3-hour events. One was the music, like a live concert, and the 2 nights later was the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live, which was amazing. It's absolutely phenomenal. The concert was just unreal. Post Malone playing with the guys from Nirvana stole the night. Don't care what anybody says. But Cher, yo, she killed it. She's got to be. I think she's like 77 years
She's
old.
gorgeous.
Or something like that.
She's amazing.
She was incredible. She didn't sound like she did 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I don't give a shit. But she was. I was like, holy crap, that is Cher, man. And she kicked ass. And there you go. There's my woman moment. She kicked ass. Absolutely kicked ass.
This is my time to just say I love Sabrina Carpenter. I adore her. And I thought that she was pretty cool too. She's very Goldie Hawn with her look these days, and I'm really happy that she was able to get past her Disney Channel era, because it's hard for a lot of celebrities that were once on Radio Disney to get themselves away from that Disney branding. And I say that as an advertising major. So
And with that,
and
we're gonna
with
bid
that,
you adieu.
we bid you such adieu. We hope you
Adieu-doo.
enjoyed. Do 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 do. Do do
Like the Cocteau
do.
Twins, the French doo-doo. Go ahead,
Oui,
listen
oui.
to that record. Please email all that. Spam Riley's email, because it all goes to her. I won't even see it. She might bring it up to me. She might share something with me. I don't know. But listen to that record and tell me. There is somebody I want their opinion on that record, and I'm going to ask them if they listened to it. I hope they did, and I'm going to see. They might even know who it was, because they're into that 90s stuff. But, I'm curious.
Yeah, speaking of that contact form, hope you hit it up. I'd love to chat, love to hang, get some feedback. If you want to be besties, if you want to say how much you loved the show maybe, or how much you didn't, I would still love to hear it all. I'm big on
What-
yapping.
What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What can we do differently? I mean, yeah, absolutely.
What
we're
album do
open
you
to
want
it.
Pops to listen to?
Oh,
Let me know.
Christ. Don't open those floodgates.
Or even if there's a movie that you want us to watch, or a show or something like that. Anything. If you have
Nos-
something in mind,
Nosferatu on Peacock. I'm looking forward to watching that. Just came out the other day. Really looking forward to watching that.
I'm a little nervous. I don't do body horror very well, but if you put it in the contact form, then I have to watch it. I can't just ignore you. So, with that, we hope you loved this second episode. Follow us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, and like our videos. Go read up on us on our website, and happy streaming.
Hit that share button, like button, all that good stuff.
Yeah, happy streaming, listening, looking at our beautiful faces, and that is all. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.